Hi guys, hope everyone's doing really well and really enjoying this hot weather still. This week I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. Still talking about EV cars, but I wanted to do, I suppose, my own personal thoughts and comparisons between the old style Nissan Leaf and the new 2018 Nissan Leaf. I've driven both cars. I've driven the 24 kilowatt hour old Nissan Leaf, and I've driven the 40 kilowatt hour 2018 Nissan Leaf. So this is just going to be my, I suppose, what I do differently between what I like and what I don't like between the old and the new car. So stick around. So right off the back, I just wanted to say I'm not going to go into the whole battery management issues and things like that. There's more than enough EV channels and YouTubers that can fill you into that are far more knowledgeable and technical than I am. So this video really is just to compare the old style 2000 or the old style 2000s, I suppose you could call it, Nissan Leaf, and the new 2018 Nissan Leaf. I drove the old one some time ago. I don't own either car, but I've driven both enough, I think, just to make some thoughts and impressions on them. Now, my personal preference out of these two models of the same car is the old version. I really like the shape. I know that sometimes people love it, some people hate it. It's a bit like the i3, you either love it or hate it. I personally prefer the older version. I personally prefer electric cars that don't necessarily look like traditional cars. I think if it's electric and it's more kind of futuristic and the more different and quirky, the more it appeals to me. So that's probably just a personal preference. But in terms of looks, so let's start there. I think the old version, whilst were, splits opinions, I think it was good. It was a good sized car for what it is. I like the quirkiness of it. I like the front and the rear of the car. The new version for me looks a bit too boxy, tries too hard to go normal car approach, which is a shame, really. I've seen a lot of car manufacturers going EV, going, we need to make it look like a normal car because that's what people will buy. I like it when they have a concept car and they try and stick to that as much as possible, because usually the concept cars are really cool and really nice. So I don't personally like the new look. Again, personal opinion. Lots of people out there will probably absolutely love it. Looks wise, I think it's okay, but it's just like every other car. The next thing is, and again, I'm not going to compare things like battery ranges and amount of hours on batteries, because obviously they're going to be different, and range and things like that. What I will say is that if I was designing the 2018 Leaf, I would personally just give the old version a little bit of a makeover. Nothing too drastic, but just maybe make it a little bit more modern looking. I'd try and get a battery in there with around 200 mile real world range, or near as, to give it more than enough range. Now, because most of the old ones I think have a smaller range, but that would be the sweet spot, I think. One of the key things, what was really interesting, is that I never really liked the inside of the older Nissan Leaf. I thought it was very basic. It's very Nissan. Nissan tend to have a standard kind of plastic kind of looking thing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's functional and it does the job. But that's looking dated, and I was really surprised in 2018 that they essentially took a lot of the guts out of that and put it in the new version. Personally, I think they should have looked carefully at other cars. And I keep coming back to this, and it's silly because it's an expensive car, but Teslas, I don't know why more cars internally don't just have a touch screen. Touchscreens, iPads, those sort of things are cheap enough now to actually be able to put these in cars without really too much effort, and it allows it to be more configurable and more upgradable. So a lot of those things, and it's a thing in my i3 I would prefer a touchscreen, but again, personal preference. So I think they could have done that a bit better. The other strange thing that I found on the new Nissan Leaf is that they had a part digital and part analog display for the speedo and the range and things like that. That was just really strange. Go one or the other, preferably digital for everything. I don't know why they've done that. In that respect, so I prefer the old model. I think that was a lot better done, and a lot more fun, to be honest. So with the new one, I think they just try too much to be a normal car, and it's a shame really, because I think with a bit of effort and a bit of removing that aspect and those design decisions, they could have just gone with an updated version of the older car. I mean, this is a very popular car. I mean, they sold millions of these, and they're fun little cars, and they can go a good amount of distance. I know loads of people and YouTubers and friends that have Leafs, and they're more than capable of doing the miles and things like that, and there's loads of space in them. It's more than enough room in there, as I'm sure again many other YouTubers will attest to, that the amount of things that they've done when driving the Leaf. So my main, I suppose, things are mainly around the look and the feel and the inside of the new Leaf. I found personally the new Leaf was very cramped. It didn't seem very spacious in there. They tried to cram too much in, and the steering and the dashboard was quite close, whereas the old Leaf, it's kind of typical old style Nissan, which was quite spacious and a lot of room and things like that. Again, I think they've over tried with these things. So I think if Nissan were to do it again, I hope that whatever comes after the Nissan Leaf, that they stick more with the concept designs rather than anything else. I think the concepts people will accept now rather than not. EV drivers and new car drivers, I think, want something different. They don't want the normal cars anymore. I personally don't. I think whichever car I go for after the i3, I want it to be quirky. I want it to be different. I want it to stand out. But it's a, I suppose, personal preferences. I know loads of people that have looked at the 2018 Leaf and prefer it. I know that other people prefer the old version. Both are valid points and comments. I just prefer the old version. I think it was a fun little car. I think Nissan have just tried too hard with the new one and not concentrated on maybe what's more important, with a slightly bigger range, perhaps redesign the interior a bit more, make it a bit more modern, make it more kind of, I suppose, I want to say Tesla-like, but there's a lot of lessons that a lot of car manufacturers can learn from Tesla. So anyway, just my personal thoughts this week's video. Be interested to know what you guys think. Leave comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Please like and share this video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.